Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight our topic is going to be very controversial. Well, maybe not really, but it's going to be what is art, what is porn? And there's a lot of different points of view out there about that. So what is it that I actually do on this show? I think I get that question a lot from people when, if I'm meeting them on Facebook and they've never listened to my show before. I often get that question like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, here's an interesting thing. I'm going to give you my resume right here. So one of the things that I do is I work with bodies, and I actually had the pleasure and privilege of and honor of working on many beautiful bodies this weekend. And when I say that, I actually do things that are doesn't all involve like sexual energy. Although a lot of my work, even though I'm, say, moving your leg, will actually include a lot of sexual energy. So the beauty of working on bodies is that when you actually include everything that you be, including the sexual energy and the sexualness that you be, that bodies can start to heal in ways and have ease in ways that isn't available when you're shutting parts of you off. So my sessions include a lot of me, all of me, and which in turn allows you to be more of you. That's kind of the coolest part of it. So what I was noticing this weekend is really, as much as I've been trained, and I've known this for a while, but as much as I've been trained in a type of somatic body work called the mitzvah technique, it was like 5 years training, getting some techniques down. And I've been, working in energy work for over 20 years, different kinds of energy work. I really have a style of my own, and it really comes down to listening to bodies and what the bodies desire and require. And the funny thing is most guys in particular, and I love guys in particular, like, my body requires a blowjob because that's what all male bodies require, doesn't it? And guys, not always, just saying. Sometimes your body actually requires movement. And it's surprising, because you're thinking, no, my body actually requires blowjobs, and that's number one on my top of my list. So with that, keep in mind, bodies like all kinds of different things, and sometimes bodies like to have, movement or, massage or energy work or kindness, caring, touch in different ways. So that's essentially what I offer in my private sessions and my private practices, that I work on bodies in a way that is so individualized that I can't totally describe it, because for everybody who walks in, it's completely different, and everybody's body speaks differently. So, for example, some bodies today that I've been working on for like 4 years started to receive things like movement that they couldn't receive before. So you never know what's going to show up. I never know what's going to show up. And what I love about it is that it's forever changing, and there's this fluidity about it that allows me to always be in question and always be creating and always be willing to receive more of me, my capacities. And in that, it actually allows you to receive more of you and your capacities. So what's really fun is I'm actually doing this show from a parking lot in a town like halfway, not even halfway to my house, because I was like in traffic and stuff. And as I'm sitting here, I'm getting some wickedly awesome looks from people, and I love it. They're like, "What the hell's that woman doing over there in that car?" So everybody out there, chances are I am masturbating in my car, because if you ever see me in a parking lot, if you see a strange woman sitting around in a parking lot, with a phone up to her face, looking at a computer, there's porn going on and there's definitely masturbation. That was my way of segueing into the porn conversation, by the way. Yeah, that's how smooth I am. So what I have been curious about for a while, actually for more than a while, we haven't really had a conversation about it because it seems lots of people are having a conversation about it, and in different ways, I guess I could say. There's a lot of controversy between what is art and what is porn. So I've done my research, as I love to do, which is funny because I hated research when I was younger. Probably the only thing I liked researching was anything to do about sex, which I do remember that was fun. So some of the questions I put out there today is like, what is actually the difference between art and porn? And what if one creates and the other limits? And what if none of that's true? So I've actually heard people, in consciousness, people doing spirituality, talk about pornography as not only as a limitation, but also as full of judgment, and that it actually limits you. So I had a very interesting, Facebook kind of conversation with a fellow from India who just, very randomly and blatantly informed me that I could probably change the porn world. I was like, that's really cool that you're aware of that. Because I am aware of that. So what else is possible? And it was just so random that it actually was part of what sparked me to kind of look at this. So also for, FYI, if you've never looked up the definition of pornography, guess what? I have. Pornography actually is a kind of neat word. We have so many vulgar connotations placed on it that, you say pornography, there's like a gazillion images that pop up in your head. There are gazillion energies that pop up around it. There's a lot of judgment around it. There's a lot of points of view that come up with pornography. So the original meaning of pornography is from Greek, and I may be getting this wrong. I apologize to all my Greek friends out there listening. Pornography, the porn part of it, or porno, or porna, and I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm not Greek, but not in this lifetime, means prostitution or prostitute. And graphia would be like an image or a graphic, right? So pornography actually is a graphic of a prostitute. So it's funny because nowadays not everybody doing pornography is a prostitute, and not all of it are stills that would just be images, right? So we've got video pornography. There's even now a whole industry that's working on 3D pornography because, hey, why not? We like all our other movies in 3D. Why not pornography? And soon, we're also going to be looking at things that will be more like virtual reality style stuff. So you could have pornography in a way that's more like interactive. I actually spoke with a sex toy developer, and he was mentioning that that's kind of on the rise right now. People are doing a lot of work and investigation on how to create that. So I think the world itself and technology is actually changing a lot of what is pornography. There's a lot to be said for, social media, creating avenues for people to be like amateur pornographers themselves, whether it's like sending out nude photos of yourself or enjoying them or whatever. Like there's this whole avenue of pornography that's more like an amateur pornography that's going on thanks to social media, where even 20 years ago when we didn't have access to that, to give somebody a nude photo of yourself would have been incredibly vulnerable, even more so than now in a way, but at the same time not. I'll kind of get into why I think that. But in one way, back in the day, 20 years ago when we still had to develop our film and, take it to the local place to develop it, if you had nudes of you, somebody who was doing the development is going to see you naked, So then you go into the shop later and there you are, and they're staring at you funny because there's your naked butt or your naked crotch, and they've seen it. And so, people weren't doing that as much, giving out photographs randomly to strangers as they are now on social media. The thing with that is, like, your images, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but your images are stored in clouds everywhere. So by sending your nudes out to everybody or whatever or not, by not sending them out, you're not going to be vulnerable to that. But by sending them out, everybody and anybody has access to them. They actually become public property. So just FYI, if you are doing that, your images are actually public property in a lot of ways. They're accessible by many people. So it's something to be aware of before you send it. Ask some questions like, will this create more for my life, my living, and my future that I would like to have? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, because maybe it actually will create more for you in your life. I don't say that it won't, and I don't say that it will. So I really encourage you to ask questions before you are sending out your amateur porn to anybody, because it can, and it has actually created a lot of havoc in people's lives. It's actually had people lose their jobs. It created relationship problems. So use your awareness. I get, we're a bunch of horny animals walking around, and we just want to show off our goods and have fun. And please be aware. It's really about knowing what it's going to create for your life now and in the future. And be aware of, if you are sending it to people, who you're sending it to. Because, if you don't know the person, just saying, you might choose not to send them stuff, because for all you know, they're going to go selling it on a market somewhere. Be aware that not everybody is maybe as kind as you, or maybe as cautious as you, or would not, cross the line or hurt somebody by spreading the images or something. So, and if you do receive them, out of kindness to the other people, just, ask, like, hey, is this something I can keep? And, don't share it around like it's, the hottest candy going either. People send these things to you. It's a vulnerability, so honor that. I actually have a friend of mine was watching porn one day, and I would like to bring this up, so if you are listening, you know who you are. I'm not going to name you. Was actually watching some live streamed porn on the internet, and he was masturbating to the porn, and out of nowhere, his computer camera turned on and started videoing him. So he ended up having a video taken of him that got spread around the entire area where he lives, and he's quite well known, and has a lot of things that could actually affect his future with that. So, and it was being used to blackmail him. So I'd like you guys to be really aware of what you're clicking on, what you're choosing, what that can create for you. Pornography can be fun. The images can be fun. They can be arousing. They're actually meant to be arousing. That's why they've been created. Let's face it, they're not meant to turn you off of everything from, very subtle pornography to stuff that some people will be turned off by, but everybody has their own thing, right? So I really wanted to talk about what the difference between, art and pornography is. And I think I'm going to touch on that a little bit more when we come back from break. So we're going to head off to break now. And when we come back, I'm going to discuss a little bit of the art side of things.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world, and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer, it's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Pleasure Zone. Tonight's topic is, what is art? What is porn? And so, just before we went to break, I kind of discussed a few things around pornography, modern pornography, use of technology. One of the things I'd like to talk about, too, is the nude in art. So what is the difference, right? Like, how is one naked figure considered art or fine art and another naked figure is considered pornography? A lot of it has to do with the way that it's actually executed. It's kind of what I've gathered. So, a lot of fine art does not have like open crotches, although there is some fine art that has been made that is like a series of women's vulvas, and it's really quite beautiful. And there's a person who created this series, and it's called Petals, and it's they actually took photography of women's vulvas, and I think it's all black and white or something, but it's absolutely beautiful. And there was another person who did castings of like all the labia, and it looks like flowers everywhere. So there's something that's just like the way that it's executed that has a sense of beauty about it. But again, beauty is also in the eye of the beholder, right? So essentially what they say, because they know more than all of us, but they don't, that the nude figure is mainly in traditional Western art has been used to express ideals of male or female bodies, and also human qualities. So a lot of times, like in ancient Greek art, it was mostly that they were depicting certain things like complex emotions, or trying to express different bodies through that are athletic and show strength, or so a lot of times they were trying to express actually a genre in the art, the same way that a landscape is done or still life. So the beauty of the art piece is that, if you get enough attention and you put it in a gallery, it becomes art. And if you have it at home, stashed under your pillow, it becomes porn. But if you take those same images that are in your porn magazine or that you've captured on somewhere on the internet and taken stills of, you take them, you maybe add a little collage to them, a little decoupage, and throw little flower petals on it, and maybe add a little cut and paste of this and that, all of a sudden you've got art. So essentially, you can have art in any way you like because you can actually create it. So it's different than, just going, oh yeah, there's a vulgar picture. So guys out there, I got your back, if you're stashing porn on your wife or something. Cool, just say, look, I'm actually a closet artist. What I'm really trying to do here is like find the images that I like the most and create this like mural for us to really enjoy. There's going to be like, I'm going to add some stuff to it, maybe a little piece of lace here or there, but I'm going to like create something awesome. You're going to really love it. So, whatever works to your advantage. So the art part really has to do with skill and craftsmanship, of course. So if you are sculpting a naked woman, a naked man, or whatever you're doing, even if it's terrible, you have a certain level of skill and craftsmanship. So it doesn't mean that you have to be highly skilled, but the more highly skilled you are, the more fine art it becomes. So if you go to like your local college and you go to the class where there's going to be the nude that you get to sculpt, all of this is not pornography, guys. This is all art. So if you went to that same class and a person's masturbating, that would be pornography. You kind of get the drift here where I'm going. So we know the difference. No masturbation, art. Masturbation, pornography. Penetration, pornography. No penetration, art. Excellent. Now we know exactly where we're at. I think there's more information here too. So modern artists are always trying to explore the classical themes, but make them a little different, so they become a little more abstract. So I actually saw a piece of art recently. A friend of mine purchased, and it is a really cool piece of art, and a lot of other people might also see it as pornography because it is definitely edgy in the way that the artist has created this photo and what they've done with it and changed it and morphed it. But you can't actually see genitals like full on with it, and because the way that it's been done, it's actually had the genitals like scratched off of it. So the rest of it is, it's obvious that it's an art, an art piece, and that it's speaking to you, and there's a message in it. And the funny thing is, if you hadn't scratched off the crotch part, it could easily be pornography. So something to get creative. If you are collecting nude photos or whatever, get creative with them so they don't come across so pornographic. There isn't. I do have a point of view about one thing about pornography, and I would like to speak out on it as well. That I'm not a fan of people taking pictures of children who are naked. I'm not a fan of child pornography. I'm not a fan of people perpetuating that. I do know I have a lot of points of view on that, and that shit bothers me. If it was happening to anybody that I knew, I'm pretty sure I'd get my mama bear out there and somebody would die. So just saying, I'm not even sure what the allure is, to be quite frank, because those bodies are not even developed. I get that everything and everyone has sexual energy, and I just don't get why and how children get involved in this. So yeah, if you're trying to justify your child pornography with some of my points of view, please don't, because I do not support you on that. So, okay, enough said on that. I have to say that's probably the one time I've had a very strong point of view on this show, and I am not for it. So I'm going to talk about what I am for. I am for, consenting adults taking photos of themselves, of each other, videos, whatever makes you happy. Consenting adults, go for it. If anybody is a minor and you do that, I hope they find you and do something to you. And so when it comes to consenting adults, there's just so many fun things that can actually be created, whether it's art or whether it's pornography. So let's look at first still life, because a lot of still life has been created through history. There's the history of pornography is really old. When you look at I was in Greece in 2000, and they have like pornography all over the place on their plates and vases, on their perfume bottles. It's awesome, and it's also art, right? But there are like orgies going on their perfume bottles, and you can have your dinner plates got like an orgy happening. Gotta love the Greeks. They have so much fun. So historically, there has been pornography around for a very long time. And I don't think we have to go too far into figuring out why that is, right? Bodies are interesting. Bodies are fascinating. Bodies are lovely to look at. So, of course, what are we going to do? We're going to try and recreate them, whether it's through sculpture, painting, drawing, whatever that happens to be, And as technology changes, then, of course, our ways of creating pornography is going to change. I don't think pornography is something that we're ever going to eliminate. So if we can be more aware of it, be confronting adults about it, be aware of where we're putting it out, I think, I think awareness is key with this. I also am aware that with pornography, there's a huge, there's a lot of talk. So if you haven't heard this talk, it might be new to you, but I've heard a lot of this talk. That pornography actually skews a lot of points of view, especially for men, just because it's pretty much acknowledged that there are more men watching porn than women, although I think women watching porn is on the rise now. That, even historically more men have watched porn or created it or whatever. So the basic kind of thing with that, I was going somewhere with this, is that I don't know where I was going, so I'm going to have to skip over that. And I am in some kind of weird zone right now, mentally, so I'm just going to go into something else right now. Pornography, creating pornography, and all right, I'm just going to move on. So there have been a lot of different attitudes towards porn over history. So there have been times historically where, people would actually gather and there would be like nude festivals. That was pretty common. I mean, even the Olympics were originally totally nude, right? So that wasn't pornography. That was an admiration of the bodies. But I would have loved those Olympics. And there, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, from erotic films. I think I was talking about how as technology increases, so there's different ways of pornography. But so, anything from, there are different varying degrees to the pornography, where you could have stuff that is like, I can't remember the name of it, but there's this kind of pornography where back in the day people were actually dying, and when they were making it, there was like death involved. It was really intense stuff. Again, if people are walking into that knowing they're going to die, with pornography, if they're signing consent form and they're acknowledging that this is what they're doing, I don't know. I just choice. So I do get, personally, like if I'm going to watch something, I don't get like aroused by like your regular pornography. And I think that's where I was going, was like men are watching more of it than women, although it's changing. Women tend to have this more thing towards erotica, I find, but I do have quite a few friends who are like right into hardcore porn too, that are women. So cool, it's just a personal choice. And also, because now like everybody's got a video camera, of course you can make your own, right? So I think this rise of pornography is actually going to happen more because we have access to all the things that can make it happen with total ease, where before, even 20 years ago, not every household had a video camera. Like now, even in third world countries, the chances are somebody's got a cell phone with a video camera, so somebody is going to be having the capacity to take pornographic images. It's just fascinating to me how much it has actually been on the rise since the use of the internet, everybody having access to cell phones with video cameras on your computer. And although those same technologies could create fabulous, fabulous art, we're probably not creating art with them. We're probably creating pornography with them. Again, it's just a choice. But I totally encourage you guys to look at what would be more fun to create. So we're actually going to head to break now, and then when we come back, I have a little bit more to say on this topic. It will actually fill the hour, I promise you. I'm just like completely distracted by cars right now. So I'm going to try and be more present with this call and less present with all the vehicles. So when we come back from break, we'll continue the topic of what is art, what is porn, here on the Pleasure Zone.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic. Tonight, our topic is, what is art, what is porn? So, like, literally, until the Victorian era, I think porn was kind of, they were just kind of similar. Because there's been, for hundreds and hundreds of years, literally thousands probably of years, there have been depictions of naked bodies, of population, all kinds of sexually explicit things. And, you know, it was the Victorian attitude towards certain images that actually started to have them place it as something that should not be public. So the very first example was actually Edouard Manet did a work titled Olympia, and she was a French courtesan. So that image itself was literally a prostitute picture, and therefore it was pornography, and it was super controversial at the time. So eventually, publications of such images became outlawed. A lot of it did start with the Victorian attitude, and sometimes, and what I find is that sometimes when things become outlawed, it becomes fun, naughty, interesting. So I wonder if pornography was totally legal, if we were in allowance of everybody having their point of view for the creative expression in whatever way, would would people even have the desire or interest to be creating pornography? Would it even be so fascinating to watch? Would there be this drive? No, I think 90% of what actually drives people to watch and create and use pornography is the fact that it's naughty, or seen as that, because in so many countries it is completely illegal. I was in Canada, and in Canada, you can purchase pornography, you can download it, you can watch it on the internet. There used to be XXX shops all over the place, where you used to be able to get videos everywhere. So it's not something that's inaccessible, right? It's completely accessible and at the same time completely naughty. It's not something that people consider an acceptable thing to have around your home, especially not acceptable if you have children. That's terrible. God forbid your child sees an image of a naked body, or that your child, sees people copulating. That would be terrible. So, if your child happens to walk in on you having sex, that's kind of similar to pornography if you think about it. So it's got a voyeuristic attitude about it. So a lot of people who are using pornography also have this little edge of voyeurism about them. The funny thing is there is different energy about people who appreciate the nude form as art. It doesn't necessarily arouse their body in the same way. So when you look at the statue of Venus de Milo, she's like beautiful, and the statue itself, smooth, the curves, it's lovely. It's one of the most probably recognized female nude figures in the world. Just like, Michelangelo's David is probably one of the most recognized male nude forms in the world. Both beautiful figures. And I personally, like in art classes, never sat around getting turned on by them because they were statues. I don't know. There's an energy about them. They're very lovely. And at the same time, they were not created in a way that was intended to evoke sexual arousal. They were created really to admire the beauty of the human form, which is very different than the energy behind pornography. Now, the energy behind pornography is, what can we do here that will actually stimulate you to the point of blowing a load, or having an orgasm balloon or whatever. So there's this very different energy behind them both. One is more of an admiration of the human form, to look at it as something that is as beautiful as a mountain, to appreciate the sexualness of it, the way that a mountain has sexualness, the way that all nature has sexualness. And at the same time, it's different than pornography in that pornography has the intent to arouse. So really that's like the main distinction. Pornography, tend to arouse. Art, appreciation of the human form. So I think there can be some really tactful ways of, and I'll just say tactful, I mean, you can actually turn what could be pornographic into art quite easily, just by putting a different energy or twist behind it. So what I get from art is that energy pulls us in. And what I get from porn is that there's an energy that pushes at us. So it's funny. It's kind of like this, like, screaming energy, and pornography has this, like, kind of scream about it, like, blah, 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 in your face. And art has this more allure to it that draws you in, pulls you in, and gets you intrigued and questions things. And I can honestly say the only thing I've ever questioned watching a porn, which I've literally in my life probably only watched 4, because I was people at the time and they were watching it, and I was like, I don't really think I'm into porn. And then my husband showed me one that was actually really lovely, and it was more like erotica. He's like, it's not all like vulgar. I'm like, all right. So yeah, he actually introduced me to porn that wasn't vulgar, which was cool. I got a cool husband. So the whole thing with that is, like, we can change it. We can change it by changing the energy behind it. And And again, there's nothing wrong with pornography and having the energy push at you. Some people love that. Some people love to be watching, say, women on the screen pushing energy at you, and they feel it. It's like in this day and age, we are so used to pushing energy on people all the time. It's got this high selling kind of quality about it. Come on, you want extra this with your fries? You want a large this with your... It's like we're always forever being asked to upsize, upgrade, and buy more, buy more, buy more. And the energy of pornography to me has a similar more thing about it. When that shows up for people in their bodies is like this desire for more, what often happens is there's this massive judgment that they place on themselves that they're not enough. So if you in your life right now are one of those people, man or woman embodiment right now, and you're thinking you're not enough, and I'd like you to look at your porn consumption. Are you watching a lot of porn consumption, and are you comparing yourself to the people in these shows or program, or like, I'm going to call them programs, I'm so cute, pornography programs. It's like the 4-week TVO special. TVO for us is public television in Ontario. So it's kind of like, if you were to walk away from that even for a few minutes of your life, if you're chronic and you're watching porn 24/7, then you find you require it to actually ejaculate. If you're finding that you actually require pornography to ejaculate, or for women, if you find that you need to have the orgasm, or even if you are ejaculating too, please look at, is this working for you? Does your body enjoy it? Or are you actually being aroused by judgment? So judgment is one way to get aroused. There are other ways to get aroused. We are so chronically programmed to believe that we get aroused by judgment, and so we do. And so many times, I can't tell you. I could probably count on less than one hand men that I'm aware of that do not require judgment to get turned on. It's rare, but for the most part, most men require judgment to get turned on. And that's cool. It's like that's where you're at. So if you require being judged as hot, sexy, or whatever, and that turns you on, that's awesome. And that's an energy that you can receive. And just check, does pornography actually give you that energy, or does it give you a false hope in some way that you are receiving something? Not go back looking for it. So you go to watch more, and yet there's this kind of emptiness. So what if art could arouse you as well? But it actually pulls you in and invites you to see things in a different way. Maybe even question things. Maybe even explore different things. For yourself, open your awareness. I really encourage you to look at what will create more for your life. Again, neither is right or wrong. It's like what will create more for you. Will watching porn create more for you, your sex life, with your partner, without your partner, with lovers now and in the future? I encourage you to look at now and in the future, because sometimes if you're watching a lot of porn right now, and you're judging the crap out of yourself or comparing yourself to the different people in the pornography, and you don't think you quite live up, or you don't even think you're good enough or whatever, I mean, that could turn you on. You might like the feeling of being belittled. That's just another choice. But if you don't actually like it and you find yourself that you're in it, please just take a step away. If you require visuals, most men are visual, some women are too, but for the most part, men are visual. So if you require visuals, maybe even just looking at different images or different styles of photography, maybe switching to erotica instead, or even just watching people films who are, it could be more love stories. I I do get that there is like, it's almost like the more you watch, the more intense it has to get, the more outrageous it has to get to turn you on. Because you actually become numb to this stimulus. Just like we become numb to watching people get shot on TV, we get numb after a while of watching porn like for years and years and years. You become numb to other stimulus. So when you go to be with an actual person, embodied in a body, you may find that you're numb and your body might not actually respond in the way that you would like it to. So I have heard conversation of people talking about how pornography can lead sometimes to erectile dysfunction. That's more common than not. One of my first shows, I was with a fellow named George Carroll, who very openly discussed how pornography had, like 2 years ago, he was aware of how pornography had created a lot of judgment in this world, and he was judging the crap out of himself, that it led to sort of erectile dysfunction for him for a while, and so he stopped watching porn and started to eliminate his point of view and his judgments about himself, and his erections became stellar again. So how does it get any better than that? So please get out of judgment of yourself no matter what you're doing or watching. If you are watching porn and comparing yourself, please don't go into your judgment of yourself. If you can just receive it for what it is, if it's just getting you off, if it's a little extra boost, go for it. You find that it's become your go-to happy because that's what your body isn't quite responsive. It should just look at those things, look at what you're choosing that's creating that, because a lot of times you could just be fried. You just fry your brain from overstimulation of sexual themes that are so outrageous that you're probably never going to achieve them or do them, and even if you do, you're comparing yourself to the guy you just watched or girl you just watched. So whatever you do, please do not compare yourself, whether you're looking at art or whether you're looking at porn. Comparison is a fucking killer. It's a judgment. It's saying either you're better than them or they're better than you, or whatever it is, judging the crap out of your body is not a kind of. So if you can receive from it for what it is, and not be in judgment of you, have all the fun forms you can. And if you like judging you, that's another story, if that works for you. Personally, judgment is not working for me, and so one of the things that I choose daily to work on is to work, get rid of the judgments I have of me. But I'm actually going to go to break now, and so when we come back to the pleasure, we're going to wrap up this show on what is art, what is sport.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm. This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Jelenic, discussion talk play has been all about what is art and what is porn. There's so much information out there that also, if you really like to argue things with people, if that's really to want to argue your point of view, you have to back you up. There's a lot of information on art and pornography and stuff like that. Of course, the beauty of when you type that into Google is that you get a whole bunch of images too. And the funny thing is that I typed in, I think what I would do with this is the difference between art and porn, pornography. And what I got were images that were literally almost identical. And ones that, my point of view would be like that was, like some of the images would be easily construed as graphic because they were more suggestive. They were more like showing off, really showing off the vulva, the labia, everything's like open. And the woman's like sprawled, open needle or whatever you call it. And she's sitting there with a computer lip, which is a little different than the they've normally seen, which are more like women there, police to the side, right in the hole or something. You don't always see their face. Right. It's like a lot of the busts that you would see at museums. You just, the bust is the bust. The head. You would just see body parts, or whatever. There's very much right now, there's a very indistinguishable line between what is art and for me, it's
Milica?
Really, yeah.
Milica, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, darling. We're having such weirdness with the sound. I just wanted to see if we could hear you better. If your mic is your mic close to your mouth, love? We're at about 3 minutes. So.
Yep, mic's close to my mouth. Am I been silent most of the show?
That's better now. It's been kind of going in and out. So I just wanted these last words. I wanted to make sure we hear what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Keisha. That's
You're
funny.
welcome, love.
I have to kiss my phone to talk to you guys. That's awesome. So I don't know where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the difference between art and porn to me really is that art it has an allure about it that actually pulls you energetically. So the difference isn't necessarily in the images themselves, but to me it's more about the energy behind them and what it offers you. So the energy behind a lot of what I would call art is what pulls me in, has me question, makes me wonder, has me be curious. And pornography is this energy to me of push, like throwing sexual energy onto you, at you, more aggressive that way. So, what is it to you? Because that's how I distinguish it. It's an energetic thing because literally the images now are so similar that it's hard to distinguish what they are. Probably 100 years ago, even into the 1960s, I would say, it was very easy to distinguish between art and pornography because we were very much more clear on that. And now it's very skewed. Also, we didn't even have a distinction up until the Victorian era because art and pornography were one and the same, as we had images of coitus in all kinds of places. So, including, your favorite water urn could have had great sex scenes all over it. So it's really something that is personal to you, but I encourage you to look at that and what is it to you, and what is it creating for you in your life? What is watching pornography all the time creating for you? So I know that we are about to end right now, and I'm very happy that you guys stuck with me through all of this up and down time. There were my 20 seconds out there, Keisha.
We're at about 10, dear.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, guys. I have no access to my internet right now, but thank you for listening, and thank you, Keisha, for producing tonight. I love you.
You're welcome.
And have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.